So, Netflix announced that the Shaban dub of Smile Precure, known as Glitter Force, as well as the Doki Doki Precure dub, Glitter Force Doki Doki, will be leaving Netflix worldwide on the 10th of November. A lot of people celebrated this, which I don't blame them for. They are Americanized versions of Japanese shows set in Japan. That's pretty for kids, but in 2015, long after 4Kids went defunct. So naturally, as people were beginning to believe that we in Europe and North America had gotten over reworking foreign TV and film to try and pretend that other countries and cultures don't exist, the emergence of Glitter Force was a massive slap in the face. But as a 10-year-old child in Scotland, I never quite felt like I was understood. The show was a formative experience for me. Quite an influence on me, and I'd like to share that with you guys before the plug is pulled on the show for good. Imagine you are 10 years old, the year's 2016, and you just got back from school. Boot up your Xbox 360 and check Netflix for shows to watch. The section Netflix used to have at the top where they would display thumbnails for shows that they think you'd like, but the thumbnail wasn't like a logo or official art or screenshot or anything. It's just a character from the show in a grey background. Well, Glitter Lucky showed up. You hover over the icon and read the description Netflix had for Glitter Force. Can't quite remember what it said because they changed it around the time Season 2 dropped the following year. It was along the lines of, Emily becomes a warrior named Glitter Lucky. Together with her friends, the Glitter Force, she defends Jubiland from the forces of evil. Now, I'm not sure what you would have done in that scenario, but I thought that sounded intriguing, so I checked a couple of the episode descriptions. I remember the thumbnail and description for episode 11 seemed particularly interesting to me, so I put on episode 1, and I enjoyed it. I think I watched the first 6 episodes that day. Anyway, I was hooked. I watched the whole thing, and then I got to episode 20, and it was over. It's pretty sad, because I wanted more of the show. So I looked the show up, and was surprised when Google referred to the show as Smile Precure. I looked into it and discovered that there were more episodes that hadn't been localised yet. I was excited, but I knew I was going to have to wait a while. And then, in August that year, Season 2 dropped. I naturally watched the entire thing, and I was satisfied with the conclusion. But I did kinda want more content. I even imagined a full crossover season between the Glitter Force and characters from a game I had with friends at school, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get on to the next section. I'll be lying if I said that Glitter Force wasn't one of the things that made me adore superhero fiction. Granted, I already quite liked superheroes thanks to superhero media I'd experienced previously. The Spider-Man film trilogy directed by Sam Raimi, Ben 10, and a DVD with a few of the Fleischer Studios Superman cartoons on it. When I was really little, I recall a show called Atomic Betty on CITV that I quite enjoyed. But I don't think it quite clicked until I watched Glitter Force. Now this next bit requires some background. So, when I was 7 years old, I came up with an idea. It was a roleplay game that we could play on the playground. I called it Travel Back in Time to Save the World. You could either invent your own superhero OC or just play as yourself. Most people left after the first day, but there was a very tight core group. One member of this group suggested on week 2 a much better name for the game: Time Machines. Now, I'm going to use fake names for everyone who took part in Time Machines, because I respect people's privacy. The main 4 characters at the start were Courage Boy, who was my character, and the leader of the Time Heroes, Eagle Boy, who was played by a guy we'll call Ennui, Ability Girl, who was the second in command and played by a girl we'll refer to as Bookworm, and Adventure Girl, who kinda existed, I guess, was played by someone we'll call Artie. There were a couple prominent villains too, being Batboy, who I played, and Darkness Girl, who was the only really important character not played by a member of the core group. Anyway, eventually the Time Heroes go to space and explore different planets, the main one being Skyla, although Earth isn't entirely ignored. Also, Eagle Boy and Adventure Girl got replaced multiple times, and Ability Girl was replaced too after a long time with Teleportation Girl. Now, a few months before I found Glitter Force, we had this big finale where Bat Boy took over Skyla, and Courage Boy and Electric Boy, Eagle Boy's third replacement, stopped him. We then had a 30-year time skip where we now had a new main set of characters. Courage Boy stayed, but everyone else replaced their characters. We now had Rhubarb, Ivory, Inferno Jr., Taiga, and Power Boy Jr., who were all played by me in addition to Courage Boy. Stealth Boy, Typo, Ion, Nova, and Sandstorm all played by Onway. Teleportation Girl had a couple of replacements, but the one the bookworm stuck with in the end was Citrus. And Artie had Commander Kitty. Anyway, fast forward a few months from the start of Time Machines Reborn, as we called it, and I finally watched Glitter Force. Watching it gives me an idea. The members of the Glitter Force have their own elemental signature attacks, and why don't the Time Heroes? And that is how Courage Boy went from a guy with a sword who fights bad guys with just his sword, to a guy with a sword that can spark lightning and electrocute people, hence the name of Lightning Sword for his signature attack. There are a few more signature attacks, but the only one I actually remember is Stealth Boy's, which was Quantum Dagger. Also, I inserted the Glitter Force into Time Machines, and Courage Boy had a crush on Glitter Lucky, because I had a crush on Glitter Lucky. Yeah, the characters were pretty much just self-inserts. Anyway, after I watched Season 2 of Glitter Force, where the Glitter Force gets stronger attacks, we gave the Time Hero stronger attacks too. Courage Boy got Lightning Sword Tsunami, a blatant knockoff of Glitter Face's Sparkle Lightning Hurricane, and he also got a third, even more powerful attack called Lightning Sword Tsunami Typhoon, which is just extremely on the nose. Stealth Boy had Quantum Dagger Meteor and Quantum Dagger Meteor Devastation, by the way. Now, the implementation of these mechanics from the show into Time Machines helped further my enjoyment of and affection for superhero media, which eventually led me to developing a plan for Time Machines webcomics. I also tried to write a crossover fanfic between Time Machines and Smile Precure when I was 15. I actually rewatched Glitter Force and helped me write it, but I never finished it. I have, however, recently started redeveloping it into a crossover between Smile Precure and just Courage Boy, rather than Time Machines as a whole, which I'm a lot more happy with, and I'll drop on my Wattpad what we've done, link in description. Also, the secret identity aspect of superhero stories wasn't really something that was in the original Time Machines. That rewatch of Glitter Force made me realise that that is something I should put into Time Machines. It's also why the planned comics are a separate canon to the original Playground game. Oh yeah, and speaking of identity, I am a trans woman. Whilst Glitter Force wasn't how I ultimately realised, the fact that I related a lot to aspects of the main characters should have been a massive alarm bell in my head. But whatever. Let's speak about the relationship between Glitter Force and my gender identity. So, I wasn't really the macho type as a young kid. I've had long hair for most of my life and I acted pretty effeminate. Until I was about 14, a lot of people who didn't know who I was assumed I was a girl. Now, my gender identity was never really something I considered until I was 11 years old when I started hitting puberty, and I would occasionally get dysphoric feelings in my chest. I still get them from time to time. Now, at the time, I didn't know how to explain this, so I thought it was heart problems. I still didn't tell anyone about it, which is super concerning. Anyway, I started to experience gender dysphoria, and I would think a lot about how it would be so cool to be a woman. Somehow it didn't hit me as to why I was having these feelings until I was 16, but that's beyond the point. Let's speak about Glitter Force. So, being 10 and very feminine meant most of my friends at school were feminine presenting, that I wasn't afraid of watching TV shows that were for girls. Glitter Force being one of them. Now, subconsciously, watching the show sort of affirmed my feminine identity. When I started high school and became more self-conscious of boys aren't supposed to enjoy stuff for girls, I sort of drifted away from watching stuff like Glitter Force and locking my femininity away, which only made the dysphoria worse. That's why it felt really nice rewatching the show when I was 15 around November 2021. Because for as long as I was watching the show, I was embracing that femininity, that real key part of me. I think it helped me slowly realise over the months afterward that I felt more comfortable calling myself a girl than a boy. Because once I finished rewatching the show, I felt dysphoric again. That's why I'm thankful that Smile Precure was dubbed and put on Netflix, even if Glitter Force is a very extreme localization. And it's why I'm sad that Netflix aren't relicensing the show. It's a very important piece of my life and my childhood. Sure, I can still rewatch it on dodgy streaming sites with millions of pop-ups, but why couldn't Netflix relicense the show in the first place? Surely it must be extremely cheap, right? But whatever, that's not my decision and I don't really know about that stuff. I also haven't touched upon Glitter Force Doki Doki, but I didn't watch that until after I did the Glitter Force rewatch when I was 15, so it's not really as impactful to me. Still, a shame to see 2 more shows billed as Netflix originals get dumped, never to be seen on an official streaming service again. Maybe we'll get another English dub of Smile Precure though, one that isn't a strange whitewashed localization. That would be nice. My name is Jenny, and I hope you enjoyed watching. See you next time.